Hey, good evening, USA, International, Canada, Long Island, aka Strong Island, aka, and also the five spots of Brooklyn, Bronx, Manhattan, Staten Island, and Queens. This is your man G Money Stacks, aka the Gregonator, YouTuber, host with the most misunderstood, lonely nomad, unstoppable independent podcaster, and rookie podcaster of Laurelton, Queens, New York. And you're rocking with the 55th episode with me on Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks podcast, the Sports Edition show, live and direct from StreamYard alongside with YouTube. And aside of myself is the Instagram live feed. So make sure you turn on your notifications so you can know when each episode is going to be dropping. And of course, a little reminder that the episodes are going to be dropping Wednesdays and Thursdays. Um, and also, if you'd like to make a charitable donation to support this show right here, I will gladly actually. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna just tell you right here. Go to go to the link in bio, and you're gonna see my Cash App. So the Cash App is going to be $ G Money Stacks 555. That's $ capital G lowercase MONEY, capital S, lowercase TACKZ, 555. Once again, you don't need a lot of money to to show more support. It's all about doing the best you can on whatever amount of money you choose to donate and desire will be appreciated. And of course, you could do a 5-star rating on Podchaser, Podfriend, and of course, there's there's Apple Podcasts, and of course, there's Spotify as well. 5-star rating will be appreciated. And speaking of appreciation, uh you can go to the YouTube channel sports page of Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks podcast. Tap the noni bell so you can be reminded of when the show goes on the air via live stream. Leave a like and a comment along with the sports topics and episodes. Stay tuned for more video content, upcoming episodes, and previous episodes in case you miss any of the episodes whatsoever. Don't worry, everything is all uploaded every everywhere on every streaming platform that you could think of. And of course, be sure to listen, stream, watch the episodes, download the episodes, share the episodes, very important. Share the videos, tell a friend to another friend, and I'll handle the rest on where you can listen to the episodes whatsoever. And yeah. So okay, so as far as how I'm feeling mentally, physically, and spiritually, you ask. Lately, I mean, yesterday was pretty brutal. I'm pretty sure every single person out there that's driving the trucks and buses and stuff like that, I'm pretty sure when you go outside your vehicles, I mean, it's like Alaska. Believe it or not, it was very, very, very brutal for me when I was out there at work yesterday. And for most people, and you know something, I'm actually glad I didn't take the post office job, because the post office truck driving position, because when it comes to like icy conditions and wintry bad weather mix, as far as like black ice, snowy conditions and stuff, I just don't want to deal with that. That's not something that I want to deal with. I mean, I don't care what the amount of money it is. I don't really care. If somebody don't care about my well-being as far as anything else, I'm not gonna do it. So that's just me. As far as myself, mentally, I've been a little preoccupied due to my phone situation. And it's been what? it's been like 15 days since I've been out of a phone. I am going to drop my phone off to a phone shop in the mall. Probably either tomorrow or Tuesday, depending on how I feel. Um physically physically um I am getting as much rest as I can, despite the fact that I've been walking a lot while I was at work. Because when you walk for so long, your whole body and legs get very, very, very sore. You know what I mean? Hold on. Sorry for the planes, folks. I had to lower the volume, so that's why you're hearing the plane. So as I was saying, though, as I was saying before, I'm actually when you walk for so long, all day long, whether you are at work, whatever it is, whether it's cashier, whether you are doing the store floor, wherever it is, your whole body is going to be very sore and tired. And I don't think I don't think too many people are usually used to it, but but there's some people that's actually used to it as well. So I think sometimes we all need to listen to our bodies, knowing that we need to rest and treat ourselves like a car battery when it needs to recharge. You know what I'm saying? So so that's my analysis on that one right there. And spiritually, I'm trying to get a little better despite the fact that I've been feeling a little low because of what happened a couple weeks ago and all that stuff. So basically I got rejected for being polite and stuff. So it's a long story, but you know, I guess the moral of the story is this. It's not easy it's not easy making friends with either guys and women. It's not that easy, you know what I'm saying? It takes time for you to actually get to know somebody and you know what I'm saying? It's just, you know, and I talked to a few people, including my store manager, about this too, in terms of um why some women only go for the bad boys. And I actually mentioned this to two customers, as a matter of fact, and it's crazy. And yeah, it's something that I never would relive all over again. But you know, it is what it is, man. So there you have it. Overall mental health check-in within myself. So there you have it. And I hope y'all are basically all right mentally, physically, and spiritually. I know sometimes people go through dark times. So I just want to actually be able to not second guess myself and assume that everybody is fine. So that's why I do the mental health checking segments, so I don't make any second guesses or assumptions that they are doing fine. So that's not something I want to do. So just a clarification here, folks. Um, you know what I'm saying? I just want to and I'm not alone in this too. Everybody wants to get rid of the stigma that mental health is a taboo subject. You know what I'm saying? It's just a matter of being, you know, considerate. And that's what I'm trying to do. And whether certain individuals like it or not, I really could care less. So there you go, right now. There you go. And of course, we got some sports topics to get to, football related, and We have like some baseball details, and of course the first thing that we need to get to is okay. The first thing that we need to get to. Hold on a second. Yeah. All right. So the first thing that we need to get to, um, this one kind of stunned everybody. Um, and this is pertaining to the amicable split of Tom Brady and Giselle Bundchen. So let's get into the quick side bleacher bar as a start. So here we go. Here we go. Hold on a minute. Oh, that's not, hang on. This is what I was looking for. All right. It is pretty sad. Usually divorces are usually sad, right? But in this case, pertaining to what went down with Tom Brady and Giselle Bundchen, and I got a little something to say about this too. So, um, all right, and of course, this is from E Online. Um, okay, here's what's happening here. Giselle Bundchen, hold on a second, glittered in a gold at her first public event following her divorce from Tom Brady. The supermodel attended a dinner celebrating the 60th anniversary of jewelry company Vivara in Sao Pablo, Brazil on December 12th. For the event, Giselle wore a gold gown and swept her hair back into a high ponytail. She finished off her look with a pair of drop earrings and a sparkly necklace. Giselle, age 42, and Tom, age 45, filed for and finalized their divorce in October after 13 years of marriage. In their respective statements on social media, the former runway star and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers quarterback said they divorced amicably, which I named the episode "Amicable Split," and expressed their gratitude for their time together. They also noted they'll continue to work as a team to raise their children. Giselle and Tom share son Benjamin, age 13, and daughter Vivian, age 10. And the athlete also has a son named Jack, age 15, from his previous relationship with Bridget um, Moynihan. Hmm, interesting. A source told E! News Tom and Giselle agreed on joint custody of their kids, and their followers have already seen subtle signs of co parenting support on social media. My priority has also my priority has always been and will continue to be our children, whom I love with all my heart, Giselle said in her statement about the divorce. We will continue co-parenting to give them the love, care, and attention they greatly deserve. Um, while Tom and Giselle noted their decision to split was a tough one to make, they also made it clear they wish each other well. The decision to end a marriage is never easy, but we have grown apart, she continued. And while it is, of course, difficult to go through, something like this. I feel blessed for the time we had together and only wish the best for Tom always. Giselle had hinted about them each needing to do what makes them happy in an interview for L's October issue, where she discussed Tom's decision to return to the NFL after having previously announced his retirement. Obviously, I have my concerns. This is a very violent sport, and I have my children, and I would like him to be more present, she told the magazine in the interview, which was released in September. In quote, I have definitely had those conversations with him over and over again, but ultimately, I feel that everybody has to make a decision that works for them. He needs to follow his joy too. And Giselle noted she has more goals she'd like to accomplish. I've done my part, which is to be there for Tom. She continued, I moved to Boston and I focused on creating a cocoon and a loving environment for my children to grow up in and to be there supporting him and his dreams. Seeing my children succeed and become the beautiful little humans they are. Seeing him succeed and being fulfilled in his career, it makes me happy. At this point in my life, I feel like I've done a good job on that. She added, I have a huge list of things that I have to do that I want to that I want to do. At 42, I feel more connected with my purpose. But wait, there's more. There's more. But wait, there's more. Um, the Buccaneers quarterback Tom Brady will spend Christmas alone this year, while his ex-wife Giselle Bundchen will have two kids in her vicinity to celebrate. The veteran will be busy taking on the Cardinals at the Phoenix Stadium. Speaking about which, the quarterback recently opened up on his first Christmas Eve after seeking a mutual divorce with Bundchen. After every game, Tom Brady joins us for an exclusive Let's Go podcast with Jim Gray. As usual, he talked about a wide range of topics, including his professional and personal lives. While Christmas is at the doorstep, the veteran was asked about this year's celebration, especially because he will spend the day inside a hotel room preparing for the night's game. It'll be a new experience that I've never had before that I'm gonna learn how to deal with. That's what life is. That's what life's about, Brady said. Brady said, detailing more such professions that deem sacrifices. And he said, in quote, I'm gonna have to learn how to deal with Christmas and Christmas night and still go out there and be professional and then look forward to celebrate Christmas with my kids, the day after, which is, you know, just part of what football season has been for a long time. He added, indeed, um, that these are some of the little yet bigger sacrifices footballers have to go through, and Brady is no exception. Um, he explained that the physical, mental, and emotional aspects mattered the most and helped them to thrive. The 45-year-old narrated a story back from his experience meeting a businessman and sharing their struggles. When Brady showed his bruises and wounds, the other guy revealed his anxiety, stress, and high blood pressure levels in day-to-day life. We all have our battles, I may deal with broken fingers and broken ribs and torn ligaments, but other people are dealing with shit too, the veteran said in an interview. The seven-time Super Bowl champion is one of the oldest and longest playing athletes in the NFL world. He has been in the arena for the past 23 seasons. Hence, he knows a thing or two about making countless sacrifices to succeed in his career. Um, while speaking in one of the interviews, Brady mentioned that during the tenure, he never had proper Thanksgiving, Christmas, or New Year parties. I haven't had a Christmas in 23 years, and I haven't had a Thanksgiving in 23 years. I haven't celebrated birthdays with people that I care about that are, born from August to late January, he said, per NBC Sports. One of the prime seasons this year looks so weird is because of Bunch's departure. The companion who had his back for the past 13 years is gone, and this time he is all on his own. It's a let me say this, man. I want to say something about this though. It is a fucking shame for an athlete to spend Christmas alone while Giselle has the kids with this other guy that she's going out with, which is what, a ninjutsu instructor. Like seriously, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something here. You married an athlete, okay? You married a fucking athlete. You knew what you were gonna get into, and all of a sudden you're making fucking excuses and all that other stuff. And to me that's just foul, man. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, damn, that's the reason. Is that the reason why their marriage was crashing and burning, and now all of a sudden it's over and all that other stuff. And by the way, a little side note here, man. Tom Brady actually retired and all that other stuff. So and I'm just saying, man, this is just some crazy foul shit though, man. Let's do that again. That's some really felt bad for Brady for being alone on Christmas. Nobody deserves to be alone on Christmas. That's some foul shit though, man. And I'm pretty sure whatever future in adventures that he has, which we will get to, the the Fox Sports deal that he has up next. But first, let's get into let's get into let's get into his recent podcast episode where he was talking about his future in football. So, you know what I mean? So, um hold on a minute here. Yes, so his future. There we go. And this is from outkick.com. All right, so Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were eliminated from the playoffs last weekend in a loss to the Dallas Cowboys. That officially started the Tom Brady offseason clock. Last year, Brady announced his retirement before reversing his decision and coming back. Already, people want to know what he's going to do this offseason, and already Brady is tired of people asking. Brady appeared on his podcast, Let's Go with Tom Brady, Larry Fitzgerald, and Jim Gray on SiriusXM. Naturally, co-host Jim Gray asked Brady about his future plans, and in quote, "Tom, you are leaving everybody guessing." Gray said, "You said you'll take your time. Do you have any type of a timetable as to what you might want to do regarding your football career?" And Brady states, "Jim, uh, Brady began just before unleashing hell. If I knew I was gonna fucking do, I'd already fucking done it. Okay, I'm taking it a day at a time. I sense you are antagonized by the question, Gray replied. It's only the question that everybody wants to hear. I appreciate you asking, Brady said while chuckling. Thank you. And while the quote looks quite shocking on paper, it's clear Brady and Gray were having some fun. The pair both laughed during the exchange, and of course, Brady knew this would come up on his own podcast. Also, he actually didn't answer the question. Gray simply asked about a timeline that didn't require Brady to announce future plans. He could have just said, "Yeah, I need at least a month to process, then we'll revisit." But see, Brady doesn't want to do that. He wants all of us to keep hanging, waiting day after day to see if today is that day. He loves that the media is asking the questions, even though he pretends not to. I'm going to play your games, Tom Brady. I don't care what you do. Play, don't play, I'm done. Until you release your next statement on your future and my editor tells me to write about it, then I will. Because I am a good employee. Yeah. Also in Tom Brady news, we gotta talk about the deal that he has with Fox Sports. Okay, and this is from the New York Post. This happened recently. So, um, all right. So, and just like that, the retired Tom Brady transitions from being considered the greatest player in NFL history to the most interesting person um in sports television. It is not only that he is Tom Brady, but the situation that he and Fox Sports have created is intriguing. As the Post exclusively reported, Brady has a 10-year, $375 million contract with the network to be its number one NFL game analyst alongside Kevin Burkhardt. Wow. We know what his future is gonna be, man. So that's pretty dope that he's going to be doing something else though. So that's pretty good. All right, so yeah. Yeah, that's a lot of money though, man. Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree with that though, you know what I mean? Um yes. Yes. So if the prospects of Brady in the booth weren't juicy enough, the man who has Brady's seat warm and will call Super Bowl 57 with Burkhardt a week from Sunday. Greg Olson has been really good at the job. If Olson throws for the booth version of 4 touchdowns during Eagles and Chiefs, then the intrigue will only grow stronger. The way it is set up now, Brady can jump into the number one booth when he is ready. It is possible he could go for a gap year, but he very well could be calling the top games next season. As for this Super Bowl, which is on Fox, all indications are that network executives will not put him in the booth. They know it would be stupid and unwise with their $375 million investment to try a three-man setup for the first time with 100 million people watching. Yeah, that'll be a lot of peer pressure if you really think about it, though. That's a lot of peer pressure, man. You don't want to do that, man. He's already he's already transitioning from football into something else, which can take a toll out of a person mentally. So that's just rough, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, $375 is a lot of money. Yes, it is. And if Brady was unsteady, he would immediately create more questions as to why Fox is replacing Olsen with him, and that investment might quickly look poor. Okay. Um what seems entirely possible and a wise move for both is for Brady uh, to be part of Fox's pregame. Who wouldn't want his star power and knowledge to bring more shine to the endless analysis and features that will lead into February 12th? There have been some feelings from important people in the business that Brady signed the Fox deal as a hedge and that he may never call a game. After Joe Buck and Troy Aikman fled for ESPN's Monday Night Football for contracts that totaled $165 million and some change, Fox Sports did what it historically has done, swung for the fences. Wow, $165 million. Wowzers. A lot of money. Yeah. Um yes, so the money kept rising and rising until Brady's total broadcasting contract ended up higher than around $330 million he made as a quarterback. Wow. Wow. That's very interesting that he's making that much compared to when he was on the field and now in the booth is going to be very interesting to see. Yes. So, um, is this going to be a passion for Brady? It doesn't feel that way initially. There is nothing like playing, but he has talked about being like Johnny Miller um was on golf. If he is that cutting, that would be a must listen. Hmm. Well, let's see. Um As for Olsen, the prevailing wisdom is he may get a raw deal. We are a long run contrarian on this point of view. He's 37 and is making around $10 million a year. When Brady arrives, Olsen will be slotted down to the number 2 spot on Fox's depth chart and will make in the $3 million range. That is still a tremendous job. Yeah, it is a tremendous job if you really want to get technical. Yes, but Olsen has his future in his hands. His contract, according to sources, allows him to leave if there is a number one job around. He could end up being this generation's Chris Collinsworth, having a long, lucrative career despite not having played quarterback or for the Cowboys or in New York. People love an underdog, especially if the person delivers. Okay, so all right, so Brady's announcement makes the media aspect of the Super Bowl that much more juicy, which is why Fox Sports wanted him. He is a star among stars. And so Brady walks away from football to become the most interesting person in sports media because even with a $375 million contract in hand, Brady has already proved that what's next is not so easy to figure out with him. Not everybody has everything figured out though, man. But it's a good thing that Tom Brady has an option to be a sports analyst. So that's pretty good. But I don't know exactly when he's going to be officially starting, but we'll see what happens. Remains to be seen. $375 million is a lot of money to consider though. All right. All right, what else we got on the agenda? Um okay. So all right, so we got a rumor in the air that we need to talk about involving Kevin Durant. All right. Um yeah, we got a rumor in the air. All right, so Kevin Durant wanted to go somewhere else last summer, issuing a trade request to the Nets because he had lost confidence in the front office, the coaching staff, and the organization's ability to put together a winning team. But when a deal didn't work out, Durant recommitted himself to Brooklyn, and now he's playing at an MVP level while the Nets are in the running for the NBA's best record. um, in a compilation of interviews with Nick Fried, Friedel of ESPN, Durant says his trade request wasn't nearly as disruptive as those made by other stars, explaining that the impact was lessened because it came during the off season. He said, and quote, "This was a summertime thing. We wasn't playing no games." Durant said, "I didn't interfere with that we were doing on the court every day. It wasn't a question of what you were asking my teammates every day after a game or a practice. What I didn't get in the way of the games that was being played. So I felt like that's the difference in everything. So we hashed that all up right before camp. And it was cool. And it didn't get in the way of the hoops. So that's the difference between what happened with those guys and me. Durant was able to put the chaotic summer behind him as soon as training camp opened. Still, the Nets stumbled out of the gate, beset by lingering media questions about Durant's desire to be in Brooklyn, along with the suspension for Kyrie Irving related to his promotion of an anti-Semitic film and doubts regarding Ben Simmons' availability due to physical and psychological issues, which I already talked about in episode 50 to 54. Um, the season turned around when Steve Nash and the Nets agreed to part ways after a 2-5 start, and Jacques Vaughn replaced him as head coach. Ooh, damn. Replaced. Oh my gosh, wow. Replaced is a strong word, isn't it? There's more to the story, actually, if you will. Um, a coaching change was one of the demands that Durant made during an offseason meeting with owner Joe Tsai, and it paid immediate dividends. Brooklyn is 23-8 under Vaughn and is tied for second in the East after winning 16 of its last 18 games. Durant remains near his career peak at age 34. averaging 29.9 points, 6.7 rebounds, and 5.5 assists through 37 games. My whole thing was like, does the process matter to us? And that's one thing I did know that people here enjoy grinding, he said. So that was the most important thing for me. Titles and stuff come with the process in which you how you prepare, excuse me. It was more so, all right, are we going to practice harder? Are we going to pay more attention to detail? Not just everybody else, all of us, me included. Is that going to be preached to us every day? I have faith that would happen because I voiced that throughout the summer as well. Even behind the scenes, like, yo, this is what I like to do. This is how I like to practice. I've been saying that for the last couple of years. So I figured at that point, with me going through that, they understood what I value. That's what I was hanging my hat on, the preparation side of it. The rant addresses a variety of topics. The lengthy interview, here are some of the highlights. Um, yes. So, okay, on how the team was able to survive the early season drama that surrounded Irving, because we was together regardless. I think coming into the training camp, we understood that it's going to be a lot on us from a media standpoint, from just the noise in general around our team. So I think that made us tighter once camp started. So we was able to take the Kyrie stuff and move in stride because we were already stuck together before that. We started to win some games, started to get better as a team, and do some things out there that work for us. And now it seems like everything was patched all together, but it felt like it was always cool, to be honest. And on the perception among some fans that many regular season games lack intensity. Fans have become more entitled than anything, so they are starting to question our motives for the game, um, or how we approach the game. The ones that do question, like, who are you? Just shut up and watch the game tonight. We go as hard as we want to go. We go as hard as our bodies allow us to go at this point. They only see us when the games come on. But the travel, the practices, the shoot arounds, we're constantly moving around. So every game's not going to be a high intensity playoff game. On the concern that some teams may decide to tank during the second half of the season for a better shot at drafting Victor um, Wham Wham Ban Yama. Teams have been tanking for a minute. What, you are going to force them to be competitive? I don't see a problem with it because each year there's only a few teams that can win it anyway. So the rest of the league is trying to figure out where they are, excuse me. And that's pretty smart business if you are a team and you know you are not going to be a playoff team or play in team. You might as well try to play for the number one pick. You might as well try to get some of the guys who probably won't get real rotation minutes if you have a good team. Get them some reps and maybe those guys can change their lives as well. All right. All right. That's not a bad response. Let's see what else we got here that we need to talk about here. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. So the Nets dismantled. They really, 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 really They really crushed the Spurs actually. So that's just the tip of the iceberg here. So Utah what Utah hold on a minute. Let me try to Watanabe. Utah Watanabe was feeling it, rattling off of five straight second quarter points and wanting the ball again. The Nets fed their sharpshooter who penetrated to the left elbow and forced a pull up that clanged off the rim. But the way things are going for the Nets, misses become assists. Kyrie Irving had sliced into the lane. He leaped and corralled the rebound with a cocked right arm, throwing down a violent one handed dunk that announced this was less a game and more a celebration. San Antonio coach Greg Popovich wanted a timeout, and the Nets wanted to party. The Nets were surgical in a thorough wire to wire dismantling of the Spurs 139 to 103 on Monday at the Barclays Center, where 18,224 reveled in the Nets' NBA best 12 straight win and their 16th in their past 17 games, punctuated by one mammoth put back dunk. It felt like 2K, honestly. Ben Simmons said, referring to the video game, I didn't know he could do that. Hmm. How do you not know? How do you not know that though, man? Um, and after the slam, Irving glared at a Nets bench that had erupted. Grown men turned into boys who were spilling onto the court in disbelief. I'm like this close to getting tired of people downplaying my athleticism at times in that locker room. I'm like this close, Irving said with a smile after scoring a game high 27 points. The Nets, who were 9-11 and 11th in the Eastern Conference on November 25th, have climbed to 25 to 12 and one game back of the first place Celtics. Jacques Vaughn's team has won in a variety of ways through the season changing spurt, learning to play together and learning to steal games that it may have lost at the onset of the season. But rarely have the Nets won with so much authority. They were up 74 to 47 at the half, their second highest output in a half this season and their second largest lead in a half. In a matchup that had potential trap game written all over it, a pit stop at home against the miserable Spurs, following a three-game road trip and before another three-game trip. Vaughn's team did not look past Popovich's. The Nets, who never trailed for a second straight game, played as they needed the game, which meant it was not a game for long. Um, we can't have trap games, says Simmons, who dished all nine of his assists in the first half. We know coming into a game like this, these guys are younger, they are hungry, everyone competes. So for us, we got to step it up. The Nets led by as many as 14 in the first quarter and ballooned the edge to 28 in the second. The Nets reached triple digits in the third quarter and ended the period up 31, allowing Irving and Kevin Durant to become fans for the entire fourth quarter. Irving erupted for 15 of his points in the first, putting forth a performance that few in basketball history could match. He could knife into the lane and switch hands, finishing with his left. He could blow by seemingly any defender and finish with a floater. He could pull off step back after step back, knocking down four of his five tries from deep. Um, The Nets shot 11 of 21 from beyond the arc, including Seth Curry, 16 points, going 4 of 7 from 3. The Nets played without Royce O'Neal, a late scratch with a non-COVID illness, so Curry s- stepped into the starting lineup and lit up San Antonio. Oh man, Durant poured in the quietest 25 points imaginable, as efficient as ever. 10 for 14, but taking a back seat to Irving's brilliance and the Nets' marksmanship. Hold on. Yeah, sorry about that. Because of the planes. Each of Durant's 3 trips um to the foul line was scored by MVP chants from the fans, and it's hard to argue they are wrong. As a game in which the Nets shot 62.4% from the field down, Durant could literally take a seat, a key development for the overworked 34-year-old. He watched as fans under the basket became bleacher creatures, chanting the name of each player on the Nets bench and getting a wave in return. With energy and a powerful slam, the Nets put on a show that ended with bows. We show up, we play. Vaughn said of a team that is not playing down to its competition. Whoever's going to play, we hoop out. All right, so let's give a little congratulations to uh let's give a little congratulations to the Nets who won 12 games in a row. Yeah, I want to make some noise. Let's make some noise right here. Can't wait. Can't wait to make some noise, man. But are they playoff ready? We'll see. We'll see what happens though. But in the meantime, let's do some congratulating on this one right here. All right. All right. Um yeah. Up next, we're gonna get into everything in baseball whatsoever. So starting with Scott Rolen. All right. Yeah, starting with Scott Rolen. Um okay. All right. So the National Baseball Hall of Fame announced on Tuesday night that Scott Rowland received the necessary 75% of the vote from the Baseball Writers Association of America to gain entry into the hallowed grounds of Cooperstown. He's the only player selected by the, the double B WAA, attaining 76.3% of the vote in his 6th year on the ballot, while becoming just the 18th third baseman ever to be elected into the Hall of Fame. Roland is considered um, one. Roland is considered one of the greatest two-way third basemen in baseball history, batting .281 with a career .855 OPS with 316 home runs and 2007 hits during his 17-year career with the Philadelphia Phillies, St. Louis Cardinals, Cincinnati Reds, and Toronto Blue Jays from 1996 to 2012. He also won 8 Gold Glove awards, which ranks third most in MLB history behind only Brooks Robinson, 16, along with Mike Schmidt and Nolan Arenado, 10. A 7-time All-Star, Rolen had 3 seasons with at least 30 home runs and 100 RBI and 10 campaigns with at least 20. His career wins above replacement of 70.1 ranks ninth amongst all third basemen in MLB history. Shit. That's pretty dope, man. Falling just short of joining Rolen in Cooperstown and former Colorado Rockies first baseman Todd Helton, who accrued 72.2% of the vote, just 11 votes short of that magic 75% mark. With this being his 5th year on the ballot, the path is clear for his induction next year. Yeah, that's interesting, man. So, all right, so these are a list of wow. So Kyle Glacier says on Twitter, Scott Rolen received 76.3% of the votes to be elected to the Hall of Fame. Todd Helton finished just short with 72.2% of the votes. So here are the voting totals right here. Okay, so Scott Rolen is one of them, 297 votes, 76.3%, 76.3%, 6 years on the ballot. Todd Helton, 281, 72.2%, 5 years on the ballot. Billy Wagner, 265, 68.1%, 8 years on the ballot. Andrew Jones, former Atlanta Brave, 226 votes, 58.1%, 6 years on the ballot. Gary Sheffield, 214 votes, 55%, 9 years on the ballot. Carlos Beltran, 181, 46.5%, and 1 year on the ballot. Jeff Kent, 181 votes, 35.7, 2 years on the ballot. Manny Ramirez, no, excuse me, hold on. Yeah, Alex Rodriguez, 139, 35.7%, 2 years on the ballot. Manny Ramirez, 129 votes, 33.2%, and 7 years on the ballot. Omar Vizquel, 76 votes, 17%, and 5 years on the ballot. Andy Pettitte, 66 votes, 17%, 5 years on the ballot. Bobby Abreu, 60 votes, 15.4%, and 4 years on the ballot. Jimmy Rollins, 50 votes, 12.9%, 2 years on the ballot. Mark Burley, 42 votes, 10.8, 3 years on the ballot. Francisco Rodriguez, 42 votes, 6.9%, and 3 years on the ballot. Torrey Hunter, 27 votes, 6.9%, 3 years on the ballot. And Bronson Arroyo, 1 vote, 0.3%, 1 year on the ballot. And of course, R.A. Dickey, 1 vote, 0.3, and 1 year on the ballot. And John Lackey, 1 vote, 0.3%, and 1 year on the ballot. Mike Napoli, one vote, 0.3%, and 1 year on the ballot. Houston Street, 1 year, 0.3%, and 1 year on the ballot. And the rest is Matt Cain, Jacoby Ellsbury, Andre Ethier, JJ Hardy, Johnny Peralta, Jared Weaver, Jason Worth. No votes, no percentages, just 1 year on the ballot. Rolen joined Fred McGriff during 2023 induction weekend on July 23rd. McGriff, who slugged 493 home runs in his career, was voted in unanimously by the 16 members of the Contemporary Baseball Era Committee last month. Ooh. Yeah, that sounds pretty exciting though, man. That sounds pretty exciting. Um, that's pretty exciting right there though. Okay, we can do better than that. We can do better than that. Hold on. Hold on a minute. Um, okay, let's get into it right here. Um, let's do some more explosions, man. I like to make some noise actually. So, yeah. Yeah. All right, let's make some noise. All right. All right, we got some more stuff to cover. Let's see. All right, so we got some Mets stuff to talk about here. Um, okay, yeah. So we gotta talk about the Mets roster. Let's talk Mets roster for a sec and how complex it is. Let's get into it. And yeah. Um okay. So the Mets, health permitting, of course, have a very much locked in roster. There are some questions about which optional relievers will fill the bullpens back and if they might add a second lefty to join Brooks Rolen. But the main pitchers and hitters are set, befitting a team that projects to have an MLB smashing $365 million payroll, of course, for luxury tax purposes before even calculating the tax. Ooh, hold on. $365 million. All right, so there's more on the horizon to the story. We're gonna get into it right here. All right, so the long significant mystery is whether young catcher Francisco Alvarez can make an impact from the outset, and if so, in what role? In many ways, that revolves around this issue. Are the Mets just saying they believe in Alvarez as a defender despite loads of industry doubt, or do they believe, or do they really believe it? Because it isn't as if the Mets opened an unimpeded pathway for Alvarez to catch in 2023. Yes, they traded James McCann, who was under contract through next season, and paid nearly 80% of the $24 million contract he was owed to facilitate the deal to Baltimore. Hmm. Yes. Okay, but then they signed two catchers through next year. Free agent Omar Navarez has a player option for 2024. Tomas Nido was signed for the last 2 years of the Mets team control. So do words and action job. Billy Epler insists they do. Yes, Yes, I believe he is a catcher. The Mets general manager said by phone, because I have in-house data that shows improvement in strong receiving ability from Double A, and that it was good from his limited time at Triple A. Saying he does not believe in absolutes, Epler would not dismiss Alvarez making the Mets out of spring training with the club carrying three catches. The balance would be to make sure that Alvarez catches enough, say twice a week, to keep his progression going in that area while also using him a few times a week as the designated hitter. For that scenario to play out, Alvarez almost certainly would have to produce a spring training of loud at bats while showing continuing catching maturity. But what if it is just the bat? What is the balancing act for a contender between using that tool in the majors versus wanting to continue to work on the defense? I'm not going to say one way or the other. I want to say if I thought his bat was ready. Epler said, I'm going to let time and the process of evaluation organically allow that to happen. But because he runs baseball operations for the most all in team of 2023, Epler could not gamble on Alvarez's overall readiness. So the Mets constructed a lefty righty hitting tandem with strong catching skills in Navarez and Nito. The industry is pitch famed, assessed enough that the Mets know they can always trade the inexpensive Nito, of course, 2 years at $3.7 million if Alvarez earns a larger slice of the catching. Well, well, okay. All right. The biggest impediment to Alvarez might not be Navarez and Neto anyway. It might be an age-old issue. Alvarez will play the 2023 season at 21. Since 1937, just seven men 21 or younger have started at least 100 games in an MLB season at catcher. Joe Torre, 1961. Tim McCarver, 1963. Bob Didier, 1969. Johnny Bench, 1968 to 69. Ted Simmons, 1971. Butch Butch Weingard, 1976 to 77, and Ivan Rodriguez, aka Pudge Rodriguez, uh, wait, hold on. Yeah. 1992. Yeah, Ivan Rodriguez, 1992 to 93. So three of the last four to do so are Hall of Famers, Bench Simmons and Rodriguez, and it has not been done in 3 decades. Well, 3 decades. So and that comes at a time when more has been put on catches than ever, notably more individualized plans to attack each hitter and greater pitch velocity and movement to handle and present as strikes. Apple began growing into a strong proponent of framing when he saw pitchers gravitate to Jose Molina over Jorge Posada from 2007 to '09 when he was with the Yankees. As an assistant GM to Brian Cashman after the 2010 season, Apple pushed heavily for the Yankees to sign Russell Martin because of his catching savvy. For a baseball executive who obsesses on the defense component of catching, Epler vouches strongly for what he was told positively about Alvarez as a worker and position entering the organization last year and feels the prospect verified in 2022. Can Alvarez validate that further by becoming the rare catcher like Bench or Rodriguez who can handle at this age a position that Epler says has the most responsibility on the field and do it for the most expensive team ever? Well, remains to be seen. Remains to be seen, though. You know what I mean? And let's go to Pete Alonso. All right, so obviously, Pete Alonso is going to be back with the Mets in spring training. Obviously, the general consensus following the Mets contract extension of Jeff McNeil is to do the same for Pete Alonso in one of the more obvious thought processes of the decade. The 28-year-old slugging first baseman is in his prime as one of the preeminent power hitters in all of baseball and one of the faces of the Steve Cohen era Mets, but is under team control through the 2024 season. Securing him for the long haul in Queens should be a priority through the last few weeks of winter and throughout spring training, where he'll get the big time payday that is logically coming his way. What will that contract look like though? The current market certainly appears to have given a clear picture. Where does Pete Alonso rank amongst MLB first basemen? To put it simply, this is one of the very best offensive first basemen in the league. Since his MLB debut in 2019, he ranks in the top four in most major statistical categories for the batters that have played at least 75% of their games at the position. Okay. MLB first baseman offensive ranks since 2019. Starting with number one, Freddie Freeman, .937 OPS, 628 hits, extra base hits. Pete Alonso, 241, also 146 home runs and 380 RBIs. Paul Goldschmidt, 892 OPS. Jose Abreu, 587. Freddie Freeman, 239 extra hits. Matt Olson, 123 home runs. Jose Abreu, 375. Number three, Pete Alonso, .884 OPS. Goldschmidt, 568. Matt Olson, 233. Paul Goldschmidt, 106 home runs. Freddie Freeman, 357. Matt Olson, .852. Hold on. All right. Yuli Gurriel, 518 hits. Paul Goldschmidt, 224 extra base hits. Freddie Freeman, 103 home runs. Matt Olson, 347 RBIs. All right. Number five, Jose Abreu, .848 OPS. Pete Alonso, 512 hits. Jose Abreu, 223 extra base hits. Jose Abreu, 97 home runs. Paul Goldschmidt, 332 RBIs. Alonso is coming off an impressive 2022 campaign in which he slugged 40 home runs already, the second time in his four-year career he reached that benchmark while leading the National League with 131 RBIs. What what is what is this kind of production worth? There are four reoccurring names on the table above that helps set the first baseman's market. Matt Olson of the Atlanta Braves, Freddie Freeman of the Los Angeles Dodgers, Paul Goldschmidt of the St. Louis Cardinals, and Jose Abreu of the Houston Astros. All four have signed deals with the last 3 years, but only Olsen is comparable to Alonso's current age, though it's clear just from the stats above that the Mets slugger is the more productive hitter. Oh yeah. So all right, so here we are. So we got Jose Abreu, 3 years term, $58.75 million, average annual value $19.5 million, age at signing year, which is age 35, um 0.304, 378, 446, 824 OPS, 15 homers, 75 RBIs. Wow. Okay, so all right, so okay, so we got Freddie Freeman, 6 years, $162 million, $27 million, age 32 in 2022. And 300, 393, 503, 896 OPS, 31 home runs, 83 RBIs. Paul Goldschmidt, 5 years, $130 million, $26 million, age 32, 2020, 2.260, 346, 476, 821 OPS, 34 home runs, and of course, 97 RBIs. And of course, you got Matt Olson, 8 years, $168 million, $21 million, age 28, 0.271, 371, 540, 911 OPS, 34 home runs, 103 RBIs. And as for Pete Alonso, there's no data on there. But he did so age 28, 2.271, 352, 518, 869 OPS, 40 home runs, 131 RBIs. Okay. Another issue when comparing Alonso to Olsen is that the latter, while given a much more fair deal compared to that of some of his Atlanta counterparts, signed with an organization that has shown um an affinity to signing its stars to team-friendly deals. The Mets first baseman and his camp are certainly within their right to ask for a 10-year deal. At just 28 years old, Alonso is playing a position that is less strenuous than Francisco Lindor's shortstop. And he signed a 10-year deal, $341 million extension that will keep him in Queens until he's 37 years old. Wow. Meanwhile, Alonso's career has the opportunity to be extended by the designated hitter, and designated hitter, the deeper into his 30s he gets. Okay, let's see. Let's see. However, can he get a deal that provides a larger annual value than Freeman or Goldschmidt? Spot Track has dictated Alonso's market value at $32.1 million annually, which would see him earn a deal of $321.8 million over 10 years. That appears to be on the extraordinarily high side of the spectrum, given what the Dodgers and Cardinals stars are making during their monster seasons. Interesting. Yes. Yes. Freeman just batted .325 and led the National League with a .407 on base percentage, 199 hits, 117 runs scored, and 47 doubles. Goldschmidt just won the National League MVP by slashing .317, .44, .578, .981 OPS with 35 home runs and 115 RBI. Alonso's power and age should see him get just above what Freeman and Goldschmidt are making per year, potentially between $28 million and $30 million. But a deal with an average of $32.1 million per year seems like it would be reserved for a somewhat shorter deal, not for a decade-long one for a first baseman given the market. Yeah. Hmm. Okay, so that's why we see a contract extension coming in at 10 years, $295 million. Wow. Okay, we'll see what happens here, folks. And one last Mets story is so the Mets signed an international prospect. So let's see. The Mets accumulation of a young catching talent continues Sunday with Daiverson Gutierrez edition highlighting the organization's international signing class. Gutierrez, a 17-year-old from Venezuela, received a $1.9 million signing bonus, according to sources. He is considered a power right-handed bat with a plus arm who advanced the behind the plate. Gutierrez joins top prospect Francisco Alvarez and last year's first round draft pick Kevin Parada to give the organization a trifecta of highly regarded young catchers. Hmm. The Mets, with a signing pool of $5.284 million, also agreed to contracts with outfielders Anthony Battis and shortstop Christopher Lauras to give the organization three players from the top 50 in this class, as ranked by MLB Pipeline. Gutierrez was number 27, and Batiste and Lauras ranked number 29 and 43 respectively. So there it is right there. There it is right there. There it is. So yeah, hold on a second. Hold on. One more time for this, actually. One more time. Hold on. One more time. All right. I think that's gonna do it. That's gonna do it for this episode right here. Um all right. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go into the very last segment right here, which is going to be, hang on a second here. Yes, so the very segment we're going to get into is what you call stream choices on the go. Let's go. Every sports fan out there, including the listeners that's listening throughout all over the world, whether it's international, whether it's state to state, the five boroughs of New York, Long Island, aka Strong Island, or anywhere else. You could be listening to something else right now, but you chose to listen to this sports podcast right here, which is Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks podcast, which is on Instagram right now. You can follow the show on there alongside with Meticulous Vibe Juice podcast, the review show, and alongside with Off the Meat Rack Chains New York podcast, also on Facebook and Instagram. And you can also follow me on the primary handle, which is G Money Stacks 555 in Queens, New York. Turn on your notifications so you can be in the know on when each episode is going to be dropping. And on top of that, on top of that, be sure to tune in and watch me in action on Instagram Live on different podcast page platforms. So you can chime in on the topics in the comment section, and if you want to chime in on the sports topics, you're more than welcome to actually do that, and tell us what you think about it. You know what I'm saying? Tell us what you think about it, and also let's get to where you can listen to the podcast as well. So this is going to be in the link in bar where it says Linktree slash not no Linktree slash excellent fun vibrant podcast. All right. Um when you go to the link in bar, you're gonna see a whole list of audio streaming platforms that's on there, and of course, which includes YouTube. And speaking of Anchor, you can also leave a voice message on anchor.fm slash gmoneystack0 slash message. And speaking of Anchor, that's where we're gonna start with right here. And we're gonna start with Anchor. We are on Audible, Audacity, Amazon Music, Breaker, Castbox FM, Deezer, Listen Notes, Moon FM Podcast, Player FM, Pocket Cast, Podfriend, Podorama, Podopolo, um, Podcast Index, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, Podverse, Reason FM, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, Google Podcasts, Radio Public, iHeartRadio, the number one app for music, radio, and podcasts as well. You don't need a credit card or a debit card to download these apps, including iHeartRadio and everything else included. Make sure you follow this sports podcast platform right here. Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks Podcast, Sports Edition Show, Meticulous Vibe Juice Podcast, Review Show, and Off the Meat Rack Chains New York Podcast on iHeartRadio as well. You can download these apps onto your iPhones, your Android phones, your iPads, your Android tablets, your Mac laptops, and along with Dell and your Windows software on your laptops. So download these apps onto your Macs and Windows. Whatever version of Windows you have, will work. So if you have a Dell laptop, depending on what model you have, you can download these apps right there. All right. So, and finally, hold on a minute here. Finally, make sure you grab that subscribe button on Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks podcast, the sports YouTube channel page. Click on the noni bell so you can be reminded when the show goes in the air via live stream, and leave a like and a comment along with the sports topics that's being discussed. Make sure you stay tuned for more video content, upcoming episodes, previous episodes. In case you miss any of the episodes, don't worry, everything's all there. And of course, be sure to download the episodes, listen, stream, watch the episodes, share the episodes onto Spotify, of course, anywhere else, and make sure you basically tell a friend to another friend. Spread the word. Word of mouth is important. And of course, be sure to go to the link. Share the link actually to the audio streaming platforms, which says Linktree / Excellent Fun Vibrant Podcast. Of course, along with sharing the podcast with your husbands, your wives, your boyfriends, girlfriends, your friends, the people you cool with from work and wherever you meet people, whether it's at festivities, parties, barbecues, wherever. All right. And yeah, that's gonna do it. That's gonna do it for me. That's gonna do it for me. I'm your man, G Money Stacks, aka the Gregonator. Thank you very much for listening to episode 55, titled Amicable Split, dedicated to the Splitsville of Tom Brady and Giselle Bundchen, who actually ran a crash course of their marriage. And of course, be sure to remember the grind doesn't stop. The hard work pays off. Trust the process. If you want something, you got to work hard and you have to earn it. And of course, find and look for something that makes you smile creatively, mentally, physically, and spiritually, that gets you into your zone on your P's and Q's. And of course, don't worry about the fucking haters, man. Okay? Don't worry about the fucking haters. You don't need them. You don't need them. Because at the same time, I know for a fact that I myself, as a podcast creator, refuse to fail. I refuse to fail because number one, like it will make no sense. It will make no sense for me to fail because number one, I've already made a 1 year anniversary of this podcast show right here, along with my other one, which is Meticulous Vibe Juice Podcast, which already made its 1 year anniversary, and I made my 2 year anniversary with my New York podcast show. So, it would make no sense. It would make no sense to be thinking about failure. You know what I'm saying? And you shouldn't either, as podcast creator content makers. You don't have to worry about failing. It's all about you having confidence in what you do, finding your voice, being comfortable with how your voice sounds, and all that great stuff right there. Because it's probably your dream. I know for a fact that whatever career field you decide to do, go for it. Don't worry about your fucking parents that you're trying to please. You can't be a people pleaser to your parents or anybody else though, but yourself, because are you are your number one MVP. Remember that. I'm off this shit. Thank you very much. Peace and one love. I hope y'all have a nice weekend, and I hope y'all get ready for Super Bowl 57. The weekend, which is next weekend. I'm probably not going to be recording on Super Bowl 57 weekend. I'm going to be watching the Super Bowl 57 halftime show with musical performances. So I'm probably going to be recording I'm probably going to be recording Tuesday of next week. Tuesday of next week. There's still going to be a podcast recording this Tuesday coming up and the following Tuesday of next week. So therefore, I want y'all to enjoy the Super Bowl 57 musical performances and stuff, because I know I will. And I'm gonna do some highlights on who is going to be there on my New York podcast show that I do, off the Meat Rack Chains New York podcast. I will let you know on who was in it and all that other great stuff right there. So there you go right there. I'm off this shit. Thank you very much. Peace and one love. And good night, everybody.